If only you knew. If only you knew that at one point in time, anime games had love and care put into them. If only you knew that anime games at one point had actual cutscenes and engaging QuickTime events, and not just screenshots from the anime. If only you knew that there were once epic-ass boss battles that rivaled the interpretation of said battles from the anime itself. If only you knew that there was an actual story mode with breathtaking OSTs that the game was centered around, and not just a multiplayer cash grab with a bare-bones campaign. If only you knew the absolute peak cinema that was. There will never be an anime game quite like Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 2 ever again. And you might be asking yourself, well, why are you only focusing on 2 and not the rest of the Storm games? And my answer to that is yes, the other games in the franchise are extremely good, and maybe I'll discuss them in another video down the line. But for some odd reason, this game stands out to me as the peak of the series. When I think of my childhood and my experience with the Naruto Ninja Storm games, my immediate thought is, oh, Ninja Storm 2. I'm sometimes taken aback at the fact that we had a game like this, given the slop of today's current anime video game landscape. So without further ado, let me begin this love letter to the best anime game of all time, with first appreciating the... So, there's this special place in my heart with video games when it comes to boss battles, and Naruto Ninja Storm delivered on these in such a way that these battles rivaled the same fights from the original anime. Each chapter-ending boss just kept freaking topping the one before it. I know that people tend to hate on QuickTime events, but these QTEs made me want to run through a brick wall as a 10-year-old. The adrenaline rush of the violin-centric OSTs mixed with unleashing a fireball jutsu on Itachi is a memory that is, no pun intended, burned into my brain. And the animation work and dark shading put into these boss designs was so immersive. An image that always stood out to me in particular was the battle with Deidara at night when he invades the Sand Village. I remember feeling a rush of fear yet excitement as Deidara's menacing aura was only amplified in the accurate shading of his face in the dark of night, not knowing if Gaara was going to be able to fend him off and protect his village. This shouldn't seem like a big deal when it comes to a video game, but having fully original and rendered cutscenes in these long boss sequences is something that simply doesn't exist in the anime video games of today. You're not going to get something as detailed as Sakura and Lady Chiho versus Sasori as he drops his 100 puppets blade jutsu on you in one of the most breathtaking QuickTime sequences that genuinely made my heart race. There isn't anything quite like a Kakazu boss battle where this was kind of like a filler boss or filler sequence in the original anime, but they actually went and made it so expansive and immersive, and they gave even more love to this boss battle than they did in the anime itself. I can't say enough about how engaging these bosses were, and could probably go on and on all day. But of course, we can't talk about these bosses and this game without talking about the... I'm gonna settle this! Alright, so we need to talk about the music of this game. I'll never forget the beginning of Sasuke's encounter with Itachi before fighting him, in which there's this kind of crescendo of the piano as the shady figure of Itachi emanates all kinds of aura from his throne, and then he just says this.
Me dead at your feet, hey? Let's get to it.
The music just knew how to encapsulate the energy of each scene. This battle theme at first sounds like a bit of a tragic theme, in that these are two brothers fighting to the death to confront the truth behind the tragedy of the Uchiha clan's massacre. But it doesn't stay like this. As the battle escalates, we don't get more violin, we don't get more piano, we get...
Is this the death you had imagined for me? You really have gotten stronger, Sasuke. Without this, I would have been dead. Now it comes for real.
I mean, wow! You are now fighting a huge fiery Susanoo as land-destroying blasts continue to take place as Itachi and Orochimaru trade blows in an epic city-level monster-on-monster face-off. And it doesn't just come to this. The heroic and uplifting violin piece that represents Sakura and Chiho's last stand against the menacing puppet master Sasori, as her and Chiho show their strength against his puppet blade techniques as they finally triumph over the tragic villain in Sasori. The combination of violin and organ notes to display the intimidating nature of Pain and the final boss, while also representing the melancholic reality of what he has just done to the Leaf Village, truly representing the meaning of his phrase, "You will know pain." Ugh. And then we get it for another scene. And I also just want to say that this is how you use anime screenshots in an actual meaningful way.
Never go back on my word! Until I become Hokage, there's no way I'm gonna die!
Naruto.
If being smart means what you say, I'll remain a fool my entire life!
That's right. Naruto. You never gave up, no matter what.
And then we get it for another scene, and I just want to say I cannot believe, once again, that this was in an anime game, and that it was done even better than in the anime itself. We get Jiraiya's last stand against Pain, and we get his health bar slowly depleting as each Pain comes and stabs him in the back, and we just get this sad violin piece. And the music just fits this scene so well, in Jiraiya taking after Naruto, in never wanting to give up, and even implements a final Rasengan, which was not even shown in the original anime. And then we finally get Jiraiya's passing into the deep water, indicating his death and the tragedy of what has just occurred. And I just want to emphasize that it's not a bad thing to use screenshots from the anime in your battles and in your game. But in this battle with Jiraiya and Pain, the use of his memories with Naruto was implemented so perfectly here, as a way of supplementing the emotions of the scene, and not replacing them. It's not meant to replace the whole scene. It's used to come back to the memories of him and Naruto's training. And I could go on for days about how much this game means to me. And it's funny, because there were even conversations happening at the time and to this day that the game actually did some things better than the anime. Whether it was the more fast-paced and epic representations of certain fights, or the more concise and tight pacing of the story without all the fluff dialogue and filler content. In some cases, if there's a person I know who wants to get into Naruto but doesn't want to watch the whole anime, I have no real problem with recommending they play the Storm games instead. It gives them the big picture while also appreciating the huge moments in a more interactive way. There were times while playing this game where I really felt like I was in the battle, and I was able to have a better understanding of just how powerful the characters in Naruto are, and how dangerous the world is. And in a lot of ways, I just miss when anime games were treated like this. An actual story mode, with a plethora of memorable moments and OSTs and fun gameplay. Will we get back to that someday? I'm honestly not sure, but if there's any consolation, the Demon Slayer game almost came close to the same magic, but I still feel like it came up short in bordering on that bare bones territory. But hey, if companies are willing to try, I'll always hold out a little bit of hope.